October 12th, 2017. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 138 of You Can Bet on That.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
So we're recording right now on Monday, October 9th, and this episode will post on Thursday, October 12th, the day that we arrive in Vegas for the summit.
Yeah, it'll probably post about the time we get there.
Yes, that's right. I think actually when we're in the air. And as you can tell, at least from my voice, we're a little under the weather. Mike, you had this cold like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it hangs around, and then you get this bad cough.
Yeah.
And everything's all messed up.
And I got the worst of it was this last weekend. I'm actually coming down off of it, although I'm certainly not 100%. So at least we have a few more days to recover. But anyway, hopefully.
Yeah. Why do we get sick before we go to Vegas?
Hey, at least it was a week before. You know, I would have if I had been in Vegas the way I felt yesterday, I wouldn't have come out of the room.
You'd been sleeping in the room.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's probably what you should do when you first get there. Is just go right to bed.
Right, that usually is my policy. So maybe I will do it again this time.
Just go right to bed. The first day, just sleep.
That's right, and then wake up Friday morning. No, I'll wake up at Friday at like midnight and then not be able to get back to bed. Of course, it's Vegas, big deal. I just go downstairs
you just go down and play. It'd be nice. Tables will be empty.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyway, we had been talking about getting together for a craps meetup on that Friday morning, and we finally solidified the plans. We are going to meet at 10 a.m. Friday morning, October 13th at Mandalay Bay in the craps pit. This is not a meetup that we've coordinated with the property. So we're just going to show up and
hope there's room.
And if for some reason not all of us can get on the craps table, well, they've got Blackjack, they've got Pai Gow Poker. Right. We'll just take over some of the other tables.
Or we'll just go like 3 deep, We'll
That's
just,
true, too.
Layer people.
And then just hand in bets. Here, put this bet on for me. So anyway, like I said, it's not a formal meetup that we've coordinated with Mandalay Bay, but we thought, well, let's give them some love, and especially the employees and everything there, and
sure.
And so hopefully we'll have a good time for that. Follow us on Twitter though, because anything could happen if there's for some reason their craps area is closed or I don't know what. But it's always a good idea to follow us on Twitter, and that's good for the entire weekend too, because we're going to be playing at all sorts of different places.
We're going to move around a lot as usual,
and I will always tweet when we're on our way to a certain casino if we're already there and playing. And please come enjoy us. When we tweet where we are, that's an invitation to come and play with us. So,
right.
If you can't make that meetup, then by all means find us there. We're going to be there until around noon on Sunday. Our flight leaves, I think it's a little bit before 2:00. So we'll be getting there Thursday and leaving about noon on Sunday. One new addition that the actual summit has included in their list of events, at the main event on Saturday night, they will be auctioning off various items of interest to Vegas aficionados to benefit the victims of last Sunday's shooting.
Great.
So that's going to be that's going to be a part of the main event now. So definitely come to that. Again, 500 by midnight will be doing their show. Miss Nomer is going to be running the whole thing. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'd be good to have an auction and raise a little money for some people.
Yeah, so that'll be great. Last Monday, the Monday Night Football game was between Kansas City and Washington.
Yes.
And it turned out to be a fairly significant game as far as gamblers are concerned. The score was tied 20-20 with, I believe, 8 seconds left in the game. Yes. And Kansas City, I think it was 4th down, they ended up kicking a field goal.
Right. They had driven down the field and kicked a field goal to go ahead.
Yep. So they went ahead 23-20. And after the kick was good, there were 4 seconds left on the clock. So at that point, I was looking, we have a football pool that I put together here with friends and everything. And there was a tiebreaker, as is often the case in these pools, right? If more than one person has the same number of wins in a week, then it comes down to a tiebreaker, which is generally the combined score of the Monday night game. And so I'm looking at our pool, and our friend Chris was going to win the pool with a total of 43 points, 23-20. And so I'm looking at that and thinking, oh, good. Well, Chris hasn't won in a while. That's good. He's going to win this pool. So anyway, Kansas City kicks off, and it's a touchback. So Washington has the ball on the 25 with 4 seconds left. Well, they snap the ball, and then, as is typical for a play at the end of the game when one team is desperate,
right?
It's a crazy play, right? There's a lot of laterals
and too far for Hail Marys. They can't do that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So they basically throw a shorter pass and then try and lateral it around.
And backward passes and all sorts of stuff.
Hoping that somebody will get open and be able to run the length of the field for a
That's
touchdown.
right. A miracle.
I have never seen that work.
Really?
Ever. No, I've never seen that work. We've seen Hail Marys, but we've never seen that work. At least I've never seen it work.
Well, it did not work in this case. And in fact, Washington ended up fumbling the ball, and one of the Kansas City players picked it up. As is often the case when a defensive player gets the ball, he's not really aware of the situation and maybe doesn't necessarily do the smart thing. I think back to a game between the San Diego Chargers and the New England Patriots, where the Patriots were on fourth down. They passed the ball, and if the San Diego defensive player had just knocked the ball down,
right,
the Patriots would have turned the ball over to the Chargers on downs. But instead, this defensive player intercepted the ball and ended up fumbling it back to New England, and New England recovered and ended up winning the ball game.
Right.
So
you just always fall on the ball, knock the ball down. I mean, there's just so many things you can do.
Yeah. I don't really think about that anymore because I don't have a team that I root for. We've talked about it many times. The San Diego Chargers don't exist anymore. So anyway, getting back to this play, the defensive player picked up this fumble. Now, at that point, there's no time left on the clock. And really, the smart thing to do would just be to fall on the...
Just take a knee.
Exactly.
Just go down.
Right. Because what if he fumbles and then Washington ends up, then really running it back? But no, he ended up running it in for a touchdown. He was pretty close, and why not? So 6 more points on the board.
And the funny thing is they've got to kick the extra point because he made a touchdown.
That's right. They have to at least line up to do it. Right. So anyway... So it's now 29-20. What they ended up doing was they just took a knee. They took a knee. They acted like they were going for 2 and took a knee because there's really no point.
No reason to rub it in.
But here are the repercussions. Now, again, just in our little world here, suddenly Chris is no longer the winner of the pool. It's our friend Jerry.
Because more points.
He had more points in his tiebreaker. And the funny thing about that is Chris and Jerry carpool to our poker night every week.
They're brother-in-laws.
Yes, exactly. So of all the people to, snatch this away, it's so funny when they showed up to cards last week, Chris came through the door first and I said, "Oh, did you bring Jerry with you? I wouldn't have blamed you if you didn't pick him up." And Chris was just furious, right, of what happened. So that's what happened in our little world. But in the bigger scope of things, by scoring this extra touchdown, suddenly KC has now covered the point spread.
Right, because they weren't going to cover.
Right, because they were 7-point favorites, and now they've won by 9.
Right.
And that score also pushed the total score over the over-under bet.
So the over won, not the under. It changed everyone's world.
It changed everyone. So all these people who thought that they were going to win with the under or by betting on Washington suddenly lost at the very end, and what was really a meaningless touchdown. So that's about as bad a beat as you're going to get from a gambling standpoint in the NFL.
And that's why sports betting can be so frustrating. So frustrating, especially on situations like that where why didn't the guy just go down? Everyone's thinking, just go down. The game's over. Yeah. But no, I mean, he had an open field, so he probably...
he did. And, when a defensive player gets the ball, it's like, hey, here we go. This doesn't happen very often. I'm going for the touchdown, so I can't blame him. But
I wonder how many people in their fantasy league, get points because the defense scored there or special team scored or whatever. They get some points for that, and that may have changed their win or loss, right?
So it didn't affect you or me, Dr. Mike, so we can laugh about it.
We really laugh about it. And if you knew Chris, you know why we were laughing.
That's right. He was not happy.
He was not happy.
As soon as I came through the door, did you bring Jerry? And he's just fall on the ball. Just fall on the ball. Oh my gosh. Hey, those of you who are members of Total Rewards should have received an email about a promotion that they're having right now where if you earn at least 500 tier credits between now and the end of the year, you'll get a tier credit bonus for 2018. And it's something that you have to opt into. So hopefully you got an email. If you didn't, though, I'll post a link to the promotion on the webpage. So that's something you might want to take advantage of.
Yeah, they kind of quietly do this every year but you have to opt in.
Yes.
You just don't automatically get it. Which
that's right. I don't know why.
Drives me crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even want to talk about that. Drives me crazy.
If you get 500 points this year up until the end of the year, then you'll automatically get 100 points for 2018. And then the more you earn, the more you can earn from next year. There's a whole chart about it.
Up to a certain limit.
Yeah, up to a limit. So be sure to check that out. And again, I will post something in the show notes. All right. Well, you may remember a few episodes back, we had my sister-in-law, Elle, on the show to talk about cruises and also about playing slots.
And she had that great story about how she started playing slots, what got her hooked in slots. So if you haven't heard that, please go back and listen to that again.
That's right.
Because that is really pertinent to this story.
Yeah, so it's the episode, again, where we talk about free cruises, free in quotes, because, how free is it, right? It's a comp. So anyway, those of you who follow us on social media may know that something happened to Elle this last week. And let's just get right down to it.
Just announce it.
She was playing a triple double gold doubloon $5 slot at Verona Casino, and she hit the progressive for $173,799.12.
And 12 cents.
Now, when she first called to tell me about, when you hear people, hey, I won $20,000, I won $25,000. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
$173,000.
Well, almost $174,000.
Holy cow.
Yeah. When I read your text, I was like, did he misprint this? It's supposed to be like 17,000.
I know. I thought you might think that.
And then I kept, no, this must be right.
Yeah.
Knowing Elle, she probably hit some big progressive.
And your dad and brother, they told
freaked
them,
out.
right? And
I immediately texted my dad, my brother, my sister, my mom, everybody.
And they were saying, oh, what machine was she playing?
Yeah.
What was it? Now, it turned out to be a $5 machine. It was in the high limit area.
Sure.
And
I figured.
It was a 3-coin machine. So for every pull, in order to qualify for the progressive, you've got to put in $15, right? So it's an expensive machine. I can't see your dad playing that machine anytime soon.
Are you kidding? $100 would go by so fast.
But that's what she won on, and oh my gosh, I don't know anybody who has ever won that much on a slot before.
Well, I know one person who's won more.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, one of my patients won $350,000.
Okay.
Also at Verona.
Okay.
Lost it within a year.
Yeah, okay, there you go. There you go. So keep in mind, this is a high-limit slot, but still $173,000.
Oh,
that's really
a lot
incredible.
of money, yeah.
We will make an effort to get her back on the show to talk about it in more detail, because she said there's a good story behind it, and I know some of our listeners want to know the whole business of actually getting the cash and what she had to fill out, and obviously she had to wait there for a while.
I want to know all that info. Yeah.
So we'll definitely get her on the show soon so that she can go through all that.
Yeah,
but anyway,
my patient who won the $350,000 told me afterwards he could not believe how long it took. He said all he wanted to do was go back and play some more slots, and he was stuck in there for like 6-7 hours to get the money, right? To fill out all the paperwork and check everything.
Yeah.
He said he's just sitting in a room in security office.
Oh man!
So imagine that.
Yeah. Well, we'll have her on. We'll find out exactly all the details on that. So congratulations to Elle. And Elle, if you're listening too, a lot of the listeners on social media have said congratulations, and some of them had said like, holy.
Well, she's the only person I know who's up.
That's right. That's right. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's move on to our voicemail hotline. Remember, call our hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First up is Ben, and we had this call all ready to play on our last episode. Mike, it was in our show notes. I had it on my phone, and for some reason we just went over it. So anyway, here's Ben.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Ben from Dallas. This is the first time I've ever called in. Really enjoying your podcast and been going through the feeds and, listening to all the old episodes and really, really enjoying it. So I thought I'd call in and tell you a funny story about my trip to Vegas a couple weeks ago. I'm like y'all. I like to play craps a lot, but this time I decided to sit down and play at a 3-card poker table, and things were going really well. I was hitting a lot of straights, hitting a lot of flushes, hit a straight flush at one point, and the guy next to me, turns out he was a detective from Seattle, we were getting on pretty well, talking, laughing, and had a great dealer and a pretty decent table. But there was a lady on the other end who wasn't hitting anything, and she was being nice about it, but you could tell she was getting kind of agitated that all the good hands were happening on our side of the table, but not on her side of the table. So at one point, I just offered, I said, hey, do you want to switch seats? And she says, yeah, I want to switch seats. And so I moved to the other side of the table, and she moved to the seat I was in. And so the very next hand that comes up, I get 3 10s, and the detective that was sitting next to me on the other side of the table before gets 3 queens, and the lady who was sitting in my old seat got nothing. And it was pretty funny that, the very next hand, she would have won what we were betting. She would have probably won about $500 on that one hand, and she was just really, really upset about it. So anyway, it's just kind of helping to dispel a myth that one seat is better than another when you're sitting down or, if you're playing on the tables. Anyway, I thought that was kind of a funny story. Hope you enjoyed it, and really looking forward to the next episode, and keep up the good work, guys.
Yeah, just more proof, again, that seats aren't lucky. No. People are.
People are, yeah. What's funny is Ben is just trying to be super nice, right?
Exactly. I know.
So the moral here is like karma, right?
Oh, there you go. Right.
He did the karma.
That's right.
She was trying to get into the good seat, right?
Yeah.
So is that good?
Yeah, she should have picked up on it. I should not take this. He's doing a nice thing for me.
Right.
The karma's going to stick with him.
Karma sticks with him, right?
That's just smart. It's funny, Mike. Now I've got a 3-card poker story here. How often do I have a 3-card poker story?
No, you don't usually.
A couple of weeks ago, we head up to Harrah, Southern California. We went with our friend Bill, and we got there fairly early. And there was no room at the craps table, or there wasn't enough room for all 3 of us.
Right. There was 2 tables. They were both pretty full.
Yeah, there wasn't even really room for 2. I could have squeezed in, but I hate squeezing in. Yeah. So you started playing there, and then Bill said, "Hey, let's go play some 3-card poker." And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll go down there." So we played. It was just a $5 table. And we're playing, and I am just making the ante bet. I mean, I'm not making any of the side bets, right? There's the pair plus bet where if you get a pair or better, it pays. And then there's also the 6-card bonus bet where you combine your 3 cards with the dealer's 3 cards. And I think if it makes a straight, a 5-card straight or higher, you get paid something like that, right? So I'm not making those side bets because, I know they have such a high house edge. So I'm just betting the ante and then, increasing my bet when I have a good hand. So we're playing for a while, and I think I'm losing a little bit, made a little bit of a comeback, and then started losing again. And then I noticed that a new craps table is opening up. And said, okay, good, there's going to be room. I'm going to go play craps with you, Dr. Mike. So I said, all right, since it's the last hand, I'm going to make all the bets. So I put a bet on the ante and on the pair plus and on the 6-card bonus hand. And I'm dealt the hand. I look down, and it's 10-6-4. Yeah. Which is just miserable, right? It's not suited. It's that's an easy fold.
Right.
So I go ahead and fold. But, of course, my 6-card bonus bet is still alive.
Right. Because you haven't seen the dealer's cards
I could make a hand with the dealer. So my hand actually stays out there. So anyway, the dealer turns over 4-10-10. And so I made a full house. I made a full house because I have 4-10 in my hand. I won $100 on that bet, cashed out, time to go. Yeah. So there you go.
There you go.
Side bets.
Yeah, that's I've been saying that for years. I don't know why this is news to you. It's like you never learn.
That's right.
The only way to win in these games is to make stupid, crazy bets.
Well, I would have lost for the table if I hadn't made that last bet.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if I'd been betting those side bets the whole time, I don't know if I would have come out.
Done. You would have already gotten
That's right. I would have lost all my money. So
yeah, why is it with Bill we have such bad luck?
Oh my gosh, I'm torn because at first I feel bad for him because anytime we get him to the craps table and we're teaching him the game,
it goes poorly.
It's number 7. We're telling him to do come bets and everything, number 7. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe Bill's the problem.
Yeah, maybe Bill's the problem.
Maybe we shouldn't feel bad.
You know what's funny is, and Bill is I'm serious about this, one of the nicest people I know.
Absolutely.
He is a wonderful person. He's just a great guy. But when he goes gambling with us, it never goes well.
Oh my God, it's terrible.
Maybe it's just like he's not meant to be at a casino.
Well, I think he does okay by himself.
Yeah, he does. Well, he plays poker a lot.
He plays poker and Pai Gow poker, and he also bets on sports. Right. He'll go on,
and he's good at all. He's good at those things. Yeah, just maybe it's craps.
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe that's the bad thing. All right, next call.
Michael, Jack Muckleshoot here. I just had a quick trip report from Jack Casino here in Cincinnati. I had converted a $100 free play into $75 cash and took it to the craps table. It was a $10 table at the time. So I was hedging the pass line bet with a horn bet, and I hit it 3 times in a row. I ran the same bet on it all 3 times. And I was curious if you normally see people parlay horn bets or just hit them and take them down.
Well, okay, what do we see people normally do?
Now, this is interesting that this comes up because for the last 2 weeks at Harrah, Southern California, and this Saturday when I went, you weren't there, there's a player, his name is Nick. Mm-hmm. I was talking to him quite extensively on Saturday, and I'll tell you more about that later,
okay.
his personal info.
Okay.
But he bets a lot of horn high 12s.
That's almost all he does. I don't see him making any of the so-called regular bets at the table. He does, but he's always out there, though, in the middle.
It's funny. He puts stuff up and takes it down a lot. Like he'll, give me 156, and then it'll hit, and he'll take it down, or put it back. He does a lot of weird stuff like that, but he always, every single roll has a horn high 12. He has a horn high 12 for $25. When it hits, he goes to 50. When that hits, he goes to 100. That hits, he goes to 200. And I've seen him get it up as high as like $500-$600.
Wow. Okay.
So, it's not always 12, but it'll be like a 3 and a 3 and then 11 and then a 12. And so he's very aggressive on that. And sometimes he has some big nights.
I would say, as far as what most people do, I think a lot of people just don't press or parlay. That's what I'd say most people do. The next most popular thing is probably pressing. Another, just doubling the bet.
Right.
The third most popular is parlay, which you often do.
I parlay the first one.
The first one, right? And then let it.
But then after that, I just collect.
You just collect.
I mean, unless he's hit like 3 or 4 in a row, then I might maybe press it a little bit.
Yeah.
But how many times in a row is that going to hit?
Sure, right. Yeah, exactly. And the least popular thing is to just say, okay, collect, take it down.
Right.
I hit it and take it down. Now, that's the smart thing to do.
Right, sure.
Because it's a terrible bet, and you've seen me do it.
Yes.
I don't know if I've ever seen anybody else do it, but I've done it before. But as far as what people mostly do, that's probably the breakdown.
Yeah, I'd say most people press it a little bit. You'll see a lot of people do like a $4 horn.
They'll press if it hits twice. I think if it hits once, I stand by my claim.
But it seems that Harrah, Southern California, you get a lot of like $4 horn. It hits, take it to 8.
Take it to 8, and then
and they're not pressing it a lot. Yeah. They're just a little bit.
Yeah.
Have either of you played Shufflemaster's Playboy bonus Blackjack? I have a casino that's about an hour and a half away that I don't usually go to, and it doesn't look like they have very many card games, but they do have like Bubble Craps and Video Roulette. And they have this Playboy bonus Blackjack, and it looks interesting. I saw one in Vegas, but it was set to even money payout, so I just walked right by it. But after doing a little research, I saw that some of them pay 6 to 5 and some of them pay 3 to 2. I also read on the rules that each player sitting is dealt cards from their own individual shoe. Just leave it to Shufflemaster to come up with something like that. But yeah, just wondering if you had any experience with those.
No,
I've never heard of it.
Well, you know what it is? It's a variation on those blackjack machines with the picture of the woman with the low-cut blouse, right? Dealing
the
cards.
Cute dealer that deals blackjack.
Exactly right.
I like her.
Yeah, I've never played one of those before. Usually, again, if we're not at the craps table and we want to play blackjack, we'll play at a real table. So I can't speak to that. Now, as far as each player getting cards from their own shoe, I don't know why that would be the case. I mean, I guess that's fine, but in the long run, it doesn't really matter. I can't see why that would be the case. Anyway, no, we haven't played it. No.
Is it a continuous shoe, or do they reshuffle every time?
I don't know how it works. I don't know. Anyway, no experience with it.
Yeah, no experience with that. And, those video machines, I'd just rather play at a real blackjack table.
Sure. Yep.
For the simple reason that I like to talk to the person next to me.
Yeah, or even to the dealer.
Or to the dealer.
Right? I've tried, you talk to that dealer on the big screen there. Yeah. She just ignores you.
She ignores me like
she
crazy.
Thinks she's better than you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And her hands aren't that great.
And I was curious, a couple craps questions. Aside from the benefit you get on rolling a 7 on a come bet, how many times odds would you need for it to pay equal or more than a place bet would?
The answer to that question is about 5 times odds, especially if we're talking about put bets, and we've talked about that before. If you're at a place that has 5 times odds or more for all the numbers, then it's probably better to make a put bet which is basically a come bet, than to make a place bet. However, if the table minimum is like $15, well, then suddenly, to make that put bet, it's a lot more money than maybe you're willing to put out there.
Right.
So,
yeah, a lot of that question depends on bankroll.
Yeah, that's true. But if you just want the mathematical answer, it's about 5 times odds or more.
I was a little confused. Are VIGs charged on the winnings of a buy bet, or are they charged on the wager of a buy bet?
Okay, Vegas and anywhere when you're playing at a craps table, the VIG, the 5% that you have to pay is based on your wager, not on the winnings. Now, the difference will be, okay, when do they collect that VIG? Is it when you make the wager or only when you win the wager? And most tables in Las Vegas, it's only when you win the wager.
Which is way better. When they take it before, you may never hit that wager.
Right.
So.
But the VIG is based on your wager, not winnings. Now, as far as bubble craps goes, we know at least the shoot to win craps machine, the VIG is based on winnings. And I don't know how they came or why they even bothered to come up with this.
Yeah.
Maybe the person who programmed it just didn't really understand the game. But if you're playing one of those shoot to win machines, it's actually based on your winnings.
Which is a lot worse for you.
Yeah, it is. And I don't, but at the same time, they only collect on a win.
Right.
On those. So it's better than a table game
where they collect
the VIG ahead of time, the VIG based on your wager. Anyway, we're making it more complicated. If you're playing a table craps, the VIG is based on the wager, not your winnings.
Oh, and I guess the short answer to would be you always want to buy it.
Well, yes. If you're betting at least $20, you always want to buy it.
Still mathematically works out in your favor.
Yes.
Whether they collect it before or after.
That's true, yes.
You buy it.
Yes.
And I know, Mark, you have said before that you will sometimes play the don't if you are playing by yourself. And I was wondering if you had checked out the Wizards 3-point don't strategy. Just from hearing conversation, it sounds like you do constant don't come bets. So I was just wondering how many you'd like to have working.
Oh, gosh. Most of the time when I'm on the don't, I only like to have 3 working. But there have been times in the past when I decided, I'm just going to make a bet every time. So I don't have a preference that I always stick by. But I guess 3 would be the most of the time answer.
And I have no comment on the don't.
Very good.
Yep.
I read How a Math Nerd Plays Craps from your website, and it gave me an idea. What I was thinking of doing was placing the 6 and 8, place them for, let's say, for example, 42. Let one of them hit, and then reduce them down to 24 or 30 bucks each. Kind of like the How to Play Craps Like a Math Nerd tactic. So at that point, once they hit once and I come down in half, I would be about even minus the pass line bet. And then letting them hit, and every time they hit, just put the money on the odds and stacking those up until they hopefully get up to the 20 times limit. It was just something I was kind of toying around with. I haven't put it into practice. I was wondering if you had any suggestions to improve that strategy.
That strategy is fine. One of the good things about that strategy is you're taking these winnings and you're putting them on odds where the house has no edge. The listener actually called back and said, maybe I should be taking these winnings and maybe betting some of the other numbers, the outside numbers, maybe that's a good idea. Look, the strategy that's best for you is the one that you like playing the most and maybe the way the dice are going. But go ahead.
I was going to say it'd be hard to just say, do this. Because, I mean, if we know the roll of the dice, I can tell you exactly what to do. Without knowing that, do whatever makes you happy.
Sure. And as I said before, it's great that you're taking these winnings and putting them on a bet that there's no house edge. But keep in mind, if you get that bet up high, your variance is going to increase quite a bit because now you've got so much money on that point. If it hits, you win a ton of money. And if it doesn't hit, you lose a ton of money. I mean, relative to what you've put out there. So, it's like any other system. Play the way in which you get the most fun, but just keep in mind, if you do take all your winnings and put it all the way up to 20 times odds, your variance is going to increase.
You know what? With systems, it almost comes down to a personality thing because you can come up with a system where you're risking less and winning less, or you can come up with systems where you risk a ton and possibly win a ton or lose a ton, and it depends on what your personality and bankroll can handle.
Sure. And I think you and I are perfect examples of that.
Right.
I think the way that we play is based on our personalities.
Yeah, sure. Exactly.
Yeah.
Lastly, I am in the hundreds of your episodes now, so I'm almost caught all the way up, and I'm almost only being able to hear new content twice a month from you. So I just want to say thanks for all of the entertainment. I die laughing pretty much anytime Mark says anything in a French accent. Also, your Yosemite Sam impression was pretty great. Dr. Mike's final thoughts are usually, if not funny, very profound. I was wondering if there were any other podcasts around your same topic of discussion that you would recommend. Your guys' was the first gambling podcast I've checked out, and I absolutely loved it. I've heard you reference Cousin Vito's, which I've listened to a few episodes and enjoyed. I've heard you reference Vegas Fanboy, 500 by Midnight, and Tipping the Odds. Are there any others besides those I should start checking out? I do listen to Gambling with an Edge radio show and podcast. And I guess that's it. Just want to say thank you for the entertainment, and my condolences go out to those who were affected by the Las Vegas shooting. Take care, guys.
Yeah, as far as other podcasts go, you might want to check out 360 Vegas. That's Mark, Karen, and Tony. They, talk about Vegas. They're the ones that host the Vegas Vacations. Casinos USA, Coach Fav, he talks about gambling quite a bit. Due for a Win, those guys talk about Atlantic City. Faces and Aces Las Vegas. Chris always gets great people on his show. Also, a relatively new podcast, Zorkcast, from Michael Traeger at Travel Zork. That's a new good one. Vegas Bright, also Michael Mavestro. Vegas Never Sleeps, another good one. Good interviews. The Vegas Tourist, also good interviews. Vice Lounge Online, that's Jason and Tony. They talk about not only gambling, but also booze and cigars. And finally, Scott from Vital Vegas. He actually lives in Vegas. He gets some great interviews there. So those are some more suggestions for you.
Yeah, that's a lot of podcasting.
Yeah. And speaking of the tragedy in Las Vegas, let's hear from Nathan here. He was not all that close to the shooting, but it just shows you how this whole thing kind of affected people in other locations.
Sure.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nathan from Indianapolis. Just calling with the trip report. I was actually out in Las Vegas this past weekend with some friends. Obviously, the major thing was the tragedy at the Mandalay Bay. We were there Friday through Tuesday, so we were there staying at Venetian, gambling down the strip at Harrah's at the time of the shooting. Yeah, I mean, it was obviously chaos, very scary, but you kind of know how casinos are. Initially, when it happened, we had no idea for the first hour or so. And a buddy of mine was gambling outside at the Carnival Court area at Harrah's. And the security guard came in and cleared them out about an hour and 15 minutes after the shooting. So that was the first we'd heard of anything. But at that time, just initial reports said, hey, there's a shooting down at Mandalay Bay. We're getting everybody off the strip. So didn't really think anything of it at that time. Thought it might have been, a fight at a club or who knows. Didn't know anything about that. But as more information came out, they said it could be a terrorist attack, saying there could be up to 4 shooters. Didn't know. One was apprehended. Other ones were on the run. So it was just a lot of unknowns throughout the next half an hour or so. But everybody kept gambling. Everybody was still in the casino. And then probably around 11:40 or so, there was just a rush of people came running in from outside, like screaming that there was a shooter across the street at the Mirage. Don't know how that rumor got started. Have no idea what happened, but it was very, very scary. Everybody came running in. People were diving under tables, hiding under the blackjack tables, under the craps table, behind slot machine. Didn't really know what to think or do, but just kind of waited there for a couple minutes, and nothing really happened, and then everybody kind of grabbed their chips and moved to the back of the building, and then it was kind of on lockdown for the next hour, where they were allowing you to leave if you wanted to get back to your hotel, but you couldn't get back in. Sobered me up very quickly, as you can imagine. And then, we kind of walked through the back area, the parking garages off Harrah's and into Venetian. Now, Venetian, I was still pretty active. I mean, the casino, everybody was out there still gambling. There was a lot of activity. So by the looks of it, it was never on lockdown or anything. Not sure, what happened there. But we basically, by that time, it was 1:32 in the morning, took the hotel elevator up to our hotel room. Actually, on the elevator was a woman, probably, by herself, bottle of beer, slurring her words. I didn't really think anything of it, but then she mentioned something about the concert. It said, look at my pants, and she had blood all over her pants, and blood spots on her shirt. Said, people all around her got shot. She got separated from her kids and husband. They were all up in the room, so she was going back to meet up with them again. But, I can just imagine what she was going through. So Yeah, very eventful weekend, and basically just spent the rest of the night watching TV as news reports kind of came in. So really, really scary, very unfortunate. You know, as more news has been released throughout the week, just crazy, because, you know, there were also rumors of a car bomb and everything else. There's suspicious vehicles. And there were, like I said, multiple shooters. One was a sniper, so nobody really wanted to walk along the strip, you know, that night. So just all the unknowns is what made it kind of crazy. But, all right, I rambled on long enough. Love the podcast. Keep up the good work. I'll talk to you later. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're safe, Nathan.
Yeah, that's very scary.
Yes, it
is.
is.
God, you imagine you're at Harrah's and then just people start running in. There's a shooter. I mean,
sure.
God, you grab your stuff and run, right?
And it just shows you whenever there's a catastrophe, some kind of tragedy, there's so much misinformation initially.
Right, sure.
And here on the ground, how did that rumor get started? Somebody's over at Mirage enough that
probably
people
a car backfired or something.
Enough
right?
that people are just rushing into Harrah's scared to death.
Right.
You know, when really Harrah's is not close to Mandalay. As far as the strip goes, it's really not close.
Yeah.
So,
well, it was probably the incident of somebody, you know, a car backfired or there was some loud noise.
Yeah.
And, you know, just people freak out because they've heard about other stuff going on.
Sure.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a night from hell for everybody.
Absolutely terrible. All right. Let's move on. Let's hear from Matt.
Hi, this is Matt again from Chicagoland. I wanted to share my experience from last Thursday. I was at the Rivers Casino in Des Plaines, just right next to the airport. Just kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing. A friend flew in from out of town, went there, bought in for $120. And since I only had $120 with me, I didn't use my ATM card. I played very conservatively. And I had one shooter there, an elderly gentleman, about 5'1", with a Cubs hat on, and he shot for 60 to 70 minutes.
Great.
It was incredible. I left with $482, and that's after I tipped the dealers. Very good night. Rivers, their craps table had a fire bet, plus it had the all tall, all small.
Oh, there you go.
That's it.
So people were playing them both. Since I was playing conservatively, I usually bet both of those, or one or the other, depending on which is on the table. I didn't do it, but still had a great roll that time. I learned a few things here I want to share with your listeners. Lesson number 1, don't use your ATM card. Don't use a credit card. If you don't have it with you, don't spoil it. Don't get into trouble and start getting advances on your credit card. You can still enjoy it. You just have to bet at a lower limit. Lesson number 2, keep track of your bets. There was a little bit of confusion there. A lot of bets going on. People thought they had more on a bet, or some people thought they had certain bets. I always laser focus in on my bets. Make sure they put it where they're supposed to. Lesson number 3, enjoy your win. I started on the ride home thinking about, well, I should have been more aggressive like I usually am. I could have made more money, but I made, $362? Why don't I just started to enjoy the win. So don't think about what could have been, because you can never predict the future. You can only recognize a pattern or a hot streak after it's over. And the last lesson I learned from this was, from my experience, you should always bet heavily on the all tall, small, and bet them all. Obviously, Mark has messed up on the math again. This is a good bet because that one session proved it was a good bet. That guy rolled the small, he rolled the tall, so he rolled them all, and then he rolled the small again before 70 out. It was incredible.
That's
and
nice.
Plus, if it's an elderly, short-statured gentleman with a Cubs hat on, it is a very good indicator it's going to be a hot roll. That's a good way to predict it. So, Mark, you need to go back and look at your math again on that one. Take care, guys.
I think I need to buy a Cubs hat. I've got
put it on your dad.
Yeah.
You're not that short, but he is.
Yeah, he's short.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I need to put it on him.
hat.
An elderly man with a Cubs hat, have him roll. He rolls good anyway.
Yeah, he does. It'll make it better. Gosh, I don't know. I guess I'll have to go back to my spreadsheet. I can't.
Math can be deceiving. It's easy to get a numeral mixed up or an integer mixed up. I mean, you can easily mess up on math, Mark. You really need to double check.
Why would they offer the bet then? I guess I'll go back.
It's a casino courtesy to craps players.
The rest of his advice, though, I thought was really good. Especially, I love the enjoy your win.
Yeah.
How many times have you been, God, why didn't I bet more? Well, you won.
Yeah.
Are you ever happy?
Who are you talking
That's
to?
true. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, everything else would watch your bets. I know you watch your bets.
I watch my
that
bets
you
like
definitely
a hawk,
do.
yeah.
As far as not using credit cards or ATM cards,
That's
I don't
foolish.
know. I can't speak to that.
That's foolish.
Right. All right. Next up is Tristan.
Hello, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Tristan from Aliso Viejo. And if I planned this right, the next show is coming out as I'm driving to the summit. So I'll see you guys in a couple hours. But what I was calling about was to tell you that the free play chips at Pechanga, like if you have any sort of free play and you request it in table game chips, you get obviously free play chips. And they're the kind that they don't take when you win your bet. They leave it out there till you lose, which is pretty cool. I turned $10 in free play the other day into $123 of real money by the time I left the table. Just walked up to the craps table, put the $10 pass line bet there. Didn't have any money for odds, but the guy kept rolling back-to-back points. He came out on an 8, rolled an 8, came out on a 6, rolled a 6, came out on another 8, rolled an 8, and then the last one was a 6, and I finally put odds behind it and hit that too. So turned $10 into $52. And then went up to the poker room, bought in for $40, cashed out for $100 an hour later, and then went to the bubble craps machine and came up like another $20. So cashed out for $123 in real money off $10 in free play, just because they don't take the free play chips when you win at the craps table, which is pretty cool. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys at the summit. All right, bye.
Yeah, that's a big deal. You know, if you get those free chips, you know, hopefully they're the ones where they don't take them on a win.
Yeah, it's great when they don't take them because you can win multiple times.
Exactly. And that's why we don't get our free play at Harrah, Southern California in table chips, because they take them when they win or lose.
Right. So it's better to get slot play.
So we just get slot play. So that's good news about Pechanga. Yeah, glad to hear that. All right, let's hear from Matt, a different Matt.
Hey, Dave and Dr. Mike. This is Matt from Arizona. I actually just got back from Vegas on Monday, and I wanted to give a quick trip report, since that is a little bit normal in wake of a very unnormal weekend in Vegas. Me and my group, we were all safe downtown on Sunday, you know, which was lucky. But otherwise, for the trip there, we stayed 2 nights at the Cosmopolitan on the Strip there, and went to Absinthe. That was a great show. I really recommend that to anybody who's looking for a show. In terms of gambling, we played a little bit of $25 blackjack around Cosmo. Made about $100 there. It was kind of up and down, but wound up getting a little bit out of there. Didn't get to play any poker this trip, which is usually what I try to do on Saturday. We decided to watch some college football, make some sports bets. I think I made 10 total sports bets. Every single one of them lost. They were all parlays, but every single one lost. So that wasn't the greatest. Saturday night, we went downtown to gamble and played some craps at the Golden Gate and Downtown Grand. Golden Gate didn't really work out for us. Downtown Grand was a little bit better. I actually, for the first time, had 2 folks next to me playing the don'ts, and there was only 4 of us on the table, so I said, okay, let's give that a shot, see how that goes. Interesting way to bet. I'm not a huge fan of it, but we did make a little bit of money there. We ended Saturday by going back to the D right before we took an Uber back to the Strip. I sat down to play 3-card poker and played one hand, first and last hand that I played. I got 3 of a kind 8s, betting $10 on each circle, so that was a nice win there. And then Sunday we moved hotels and stayed at the D downtown. And Sunday night played a little bit of blackjack at the Downtown Grand. We played at the Plaza. That Plaza, they actually had a $5 blackjack party pit. $5 blackjack, $5 roulette, 3 to 2 on that, and the deals were really nice. So if you guys are down there looking for a cheap blackjack game, it was a $5 minimum, 3 to 2, double deck blackjack. Dealer does hit on soft 17, but otherwise, all the rules of that game were really great. I hope you guys are doing well and love the show.
Yeah, thank goodness for downtown party pit, $5, 3 to 2 blackjack.
You cannot beat that.
That's great.
I mean, how do you beat that?
Yeah. And then as far as his parlay goes, we've always said, if you're going to make a parlay bet, especially for a lot of teams, say a 10-team parlay, also make a bet on the exact opposite. Pick the exact opposite on all 10. That's just smart gambling.
Yeah, right.
It's funny. We're talking about our friend Bill. I think I'd have to look, but I think this last week in the football pool, if Bill had made the exact opposite pick in every single game,
he would have won.
He would have won going away.
Yeah,
he did clearly. So
it's like that some weeks. Some weeks
it is like that some weeks. Yep. All right, next up is Al.
Hi, guys. It's Al from Canada again, checking in, just giving you a little report on what I think are one of the best gambling destinations in the East, and that's Tunica, Mississippi. Just returned from there, had a fantastic time, and I wanted to give you some highlights. So they've got about 8 or 10 casinos down there, all in a nice little quiet area there, so not too much traffic, not too much congestion. The thing I like about Tunica is the hotel rates are very, very reasonable. The gambling is good. They have some very good entertainment, and you don't have to fight the crowds. We were staying at the Casino Magic, and I think our room was like $60. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous room, and it actually was an inside room, but it actually overlooked the casino, so we could sit in the living room there and check the action out on the casino floor, and it was pretty awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Played a little bit of poker there, and the craps was very good, blackjack's good, and they had a number of good restaurants. And you've got a lot of the other horseshoes there, and there's quite a good selection of casinos. So if somebody's from the East and they want to get a nice destination, then head on down to Tunica. You can't go wrong. Thanks again. Enjoying the podcast, and keep up the good work, guys. Talk to you later. Bye now.
Yeah, Tunica is definitely a future trip for us.
Yes.
Next year we're going to Connecticut, but Tunica's got to be one of those future ones.
Boy, imagine, in your room and you can look down on the casino
I'd love
floor.
that, yeah.
Well, how do you sleep at night, though? I mean, you can get up and look down there. It's like, oh, there's an empty spot there.
That's what you do. You put your clothes on, you go back down and play.
Yeah, I'd probably just be standing in the window in my underwear just watching people play, thinking, should I go down there? People looking up. What is that guy doing?
Yeah.
You know how I like nudity in a window?
Yeah, I didn't know it was your own that you liked in a window. Remind me not to be at the casino when you go up to your room in Tunica. All right, let's hear from our buddy Wendell.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Wendell from Denton, Texas, part of the Denton Dallas Beyond crew. Just want to call you with a trip report. It was a fun trip report. Went to WinStar, as always, since it's 30 minutes away from us. And it was a little bit different this time. I actually got paid out. I've never gotten paid out. I was playing video poker, and I switched it up. I normally play double-double bonus, for $1.25 or $2.50, whatever. And there's this guy next to me, and he was playing triple, whatever it is, where there's 3 hands at once, and he was playing $15 a hand. So, of course, I'm like, well, that's a great idea. So I started doing it, too. And I hit like $380 on one hit, and I hit $2,500 on the hits that got paid out, which was cool. But the reason I started doing that is this guy hit $6,000 next to me, which I guess inspired me to start betting more. And it was fun, man. We had a good time. And, of course, after that and I got paid out, we hit the craps table, because why not? And the guy that we just met, he's a cool guy. We're all friends now. And we told him about your podcast as well. And anyway, he started buying us all our drinks. So pretty much we got free drinks. Because, of course, in Oklahoma, you got to buy them. So he's buying our drinks. And I played craps for like an hour, hour and a half. And the crew was really nice to me. Of course, I still consider myself a beginner craps table. And they were telling me, bet this on the odds, bet that. And I was thinking of Dr. Mike. I kept playing like the hard 8s and the hard 10, all that stuff. And once in a while, I'd hit. And it was fun, man. We had a great time. So anyway, great report. Hoping to see you guys in Vegas. If not, we will catch you next time. Bye.
Yeah, bet more to win more.
Yeah, we should end the podcast right there. I mean, you can't top that story. That's a great story. You see somebody winning a lot, you do it, you win a lot.
That's right.
You have some drinks, the guy buys you drinks, and you go home a winner. I mean, seriously, that's good night.
All right,
it's over.
all right. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
No, that is great, though. And congratulations, Wendell. Another good trip. All right, we do have one last call, this one from Max.
Hey, this is Max from New Jersey. This is my first time calling. I just thought I'd give a trip report. I went to Sands in Bethlehem last night with Eric, who is a friend of the show, and Neil, who is also a friend of the show. If you remember, Neil called in a while ago. He's the one that left his luggage in a room, and I think he got arrested. I could definitely, after hanging out with him, picture him getting arrested many times. But he's a great guy. Nevertheless, Sands craps tables were really packed. They had a total of 6 tables, but only 5 were open, and 1 was at $50 minimum. So that was out of the question. So there was 4 left over, and it was hard to get in, but we finally did. And the back odds were terrible. They were the 5-4-3, which I can't stand. But if you went to the $50 minimum one, it was 5 times odds. We did pretty bad, but then, I made a little comeback and I decided to stop there. Just the place is too crowded. No elbow room. The place was packed. I mean, it's the closest casino to Manhattan, really. So I can understand why it's busy, but I would not go back there again. I usually go to Atlantic City. Well, that was my first trip report. I hope it makes it on the air. Talk to you soon.
Good. Thanks, Max. I think that's the first report we've ever had about Sands Bethlehem. Yeah,
I think it is.
So that's good.
It's interesting because that's got to be a busy place.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, just location-wise, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Manhattan, how many millions of people
want to go gamble, yeah. Hey, we're going to see Eric this weekend here at the Summit. I don't know if we're going to see Neil. I hadn't heard whether he was coming or not.
What about Larry? Is Larry coming?
I don't know. I'll ask him at work this week. Yeah. I don't think Neil was arrested. He was banned from the casino.
Yeah, I did.
That's good enough for
When he said arrested, I was like, he was arrested? I don't remember that.
He could have been arrested in the past, though. We'll ask him next time. See, it's probably not too big
have
a
him
surprise.
supply a rap sheet for us.
That's right, yeah. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. Hey, we want to wish luck to everybody who's going to the Oceans XL 14 meetup. It's going to be just after the Summit on October the 25th through the 28th. I know the Tipping the Odds guys are going there, Doug from Epic Esquire, a bunch of other people. So good luck to that. And hopefully we'll see a bunch of those guys when we go to Connecticut in April. It's funny because we've never met the Tipping the Odds guys, Dr. Kev or Mitch. I talked to Mitch a few years back on the phone. We had a nice long conversation, about an hour-long conversation about, podcasting and that kind of thing. But we still never met them. So hopefully we'll meet them before too soon.
We'll get there.
And we want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, Michael James, who writes for Vegas Bright, he wrote, "Since I won't be at the Summit, I'll be in Las Vegas October 21st through the 24th. Enjoy 5 well drinks plus tip for each of you, valid only while playing craps."
Wow, that's great.
That is nice. We'll stick to that.
We'll stick to that.
Yeah. And let's do it when we're in Vegas, because then we don't have to pay for the well drinks. It'll just go to the tips.
Yeah, just go to the tips.
So we'll drink quite a bit, yes. And also from Adrian, Karma donation for an upcoming trip beginning on October 15th. Sorry, I'll miss you guys, but good luck to you. Adrian is VegasBound13 on Twitter. Yeah, we're just going to miss Adrian. There are a bunch of people that are coming in Sunday that we're going to miss.
Yeah, why are they coming Sunday?
I know they should have come earlier for the Summit, but we're going to miss them. But good luck to everybody.
We'll be there
going.
Until noon on Sunday.
Till noon.
Maybe if some people get there early enough. And we'll be playing that morning.
We'll be playing in the morning, but we'll definitely be on our way to the airport by noon.
That's comeback day, baby. Comeback day.
That's right. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program that searches through all the raw American TV data. Just go to youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. And be sure to do that during the Summit. You'll know where we are at any time. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We love getting your feedback, and that's proof that I actually read that every time. Yes. It's not pre-recorded. You can hear it in my voice and read it every time. All right, what do you got for us, Dr.
We're not sophisticated enough to re-record anything.
What do you got for us?
Well, you know what? I was thinking, we said a few episodes ago, we're going to take it easy, going up to Vegas, so we'll be fired. We've gone every week since.
At least once.
At least once. I went Saturday and hit 2 5-fire bets.
Well, thank goodness you went Saturday.
2 5s.
Yeah. And at the same session. That's amazing.
Yes, and there were at least 5 times we were on a 4th number. Mm-hmm. We had made 3 and we were on the 4th. I mean, that's how good it was. It was a great Saturday for me.
Well, you needed it because the last 2 sessions were terrible for you. I'm glad you were able to go up there.
So I'm fired up for Vegas and ready to go. I just hope we're not there too long.
Why?
You know how it is.
Oh, yeah. Well, you said comeback day is Sunday. That's comeback day.
Comeback day Sunday. We better make that Saturday. Let's have a comeback day on Saturday.
That would be nice. Comeback day on Saturday, and then Sunday we just wake up late. Go have a bagel or something, get the newspaper.
I think we should have a big breakfast.
Before we get on the plane? That's always a good idea.
Just a big breakfast.
Yeah. I have a feeling we're going to be feeling better by Thursday.
Yeah.
And
we're looking forward to seeing everybody. I hope everybody comes.
Yep. And, a lot of the other podcasters say this too. We're sorry if we don't remember your name when we first see you. We're terrible at that. So.
Oh, God, I don't remember people at Harrah, Southern California.
I know.
We see them every
Well,
week.
that's what's nice about the initial meetup. Everybody's going to be wearing name tags. So at least, we'll be able to say, oh, of course. Yeah.
So we'll act like we're not idiots.
All right. Yeah. All right. We'll see everybody this weekend.
See you then.
Okay. Bye.